Great, so let's talk about the box, and I'll give you one specific example. So once when my second daughter, Grace, when she was 16 and learning how to drive, we were going to go on this trip into the canyon, and her two younger siblings were with us. And as we were approaching the canyon, I said, honey, you need to be in the right lane. And she didn't get in the right lane. And then as we got closer to the canyon, I said, honey, if we don't get in the right lane, we'll miss the turnout. Well, then she was panicked because by this time there's another car to our right. And so she didn't know whether to speed up or slow down. Well, we made it. So as we're into the canyon now, we're going towards the parking area to the falls. It's fall time, the leaves are turning brown and gold, it's gorgeous. And I said, honey, you'll need to get in your right lane because the turnoff comes quickly. I'd already scouted it out, had it all set up, and I knew where the distances were. And I said, honey, you really need to get in your right lane. She still didn't get in the next lane. Honey, what tone of voice or words do I need to use to get you to move into the next lane? Honey, we just passed the turn. Well, she got flustered and upset, and I said, would you like for me to drive? She said yes. And I said, there's a turnaround point about a mile up. But not 100 yards did she jerk the wheel of the vehicle and slammed on the brakes, and we entered into this little area. And so we exchanged. Now, obviously, she was upset, and this isn't the experience that I wanted us to have. We made it to the parking area, we got there, and here's the point. I had this sense that my daughter, who might be a little introverted, needed some space. I didn't give it to her. Instead, I said, honey, you seem upset. I invaded the very space that I knew that she needed. And by doing that, what's important is I didn't honor that sense. Because if I had honored that sense, I would have continued to see her and myself with normal human tolerance and empathy. Instead, the moment that I betrayed it, and I'm going to speak just to my part. In the collusion diagram, we'll talk about her part. But in my part, I begin to justify my feeling of being a victim, my feeling of being superior. I'm the parent after all, and I'm doing something for her after all. And I begin to see her, my beloved, my daughter, someone who I love, in accusatory and blameworthy tones and colors. And that is not what should happen. And we'll talk about in the collusion diagram how that view of her will then prompt and provoke in her the very behavior I don't want.